Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Nicola? Rough Tuesday, it seems. I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Um, Last time, that is, last week, we pulled in the positioner plugin into our stream to do. Hi, kitty. Okay, all right. What is with your ear here? She's very needy right now. We pulled in the positioner plugin into our to-do app for our stream, and got originally what we were doing was like manually calculating positioning, which worked well enough. But my presumption is that it was not going to work cross operating system. Wasn't a huge use case when I first spun it up, but useful regardless. So what we did was swap out that custom code and pulled in the positioner plugin. And we ended up, there is one or two features that would kind of be nice, I think, with it, at least for this specific use case. But we ended up, we added it to the code there and we pushed that up. And we ended up just centering it for now, I think is what I ended up deciding on. And we handled that all in the JavaScript side of things. So we did it in this to-do app in JavaScript. I think now what we're going to do is pull it out and put it into our template. And that's probably going to end up being, well, if we get to it, I think we're going to try to implement both the Rust and the JavaScript side of things. The JavaScript will mostly be copy and paste, so I don't think it will be too involved. But we'll jump right into the Rust and come back to the JavaScript side of things if we have time. So I guess I can just flop over here quick. Can we delete these? There's still something I've noticed. There's still something going on with this store plugin, and I don't know exactly what. It might be like a side effect thing. It seems to delete it, but then when I refresh, it comes back. So it's like progressive deletes or something like that. It doesn't seem to, like, it almost seems like we need to queue it up or something. Like the file write logic in Windows is slow or something like that. And I don't know. Because when I add something, it seems to not save it well when I refresh. But anyways, we are going to, do we need to look at the docs? I mean, we'll probably pull up the docs just as a reference, but I don't think we need to start with those. So we're going to add positioner plugin to template. And then we're going to I guess we want that in Rust. So our stretch goal would be add it to JS side as well. Sure. It's getting the point across, right? And that's our like super stretch goal. So that being said, if I refresh, it seems to be sticking at the moment. Every time I refresh, I did that. That's another thing. So like, I mean the order of these might be slightly out of. They might be slightly out of order, but I think if I've got time, we might touch on shifting the tray setup out of a hook. I think that matters less when we build it for production. But the problem is every time I refresh right now, since it's in a hook and the refresh remounts the whole component, we get a whole bunch of tray items. So Paul had actually brought up, in some way it was related to Angular. And we started talking about it, and that's when I was like, well, what does it look like if I just pull it out of the hook and lift it up just a little bit higher? That makes it easier. That makes it even easier to implement it with implement across framework. But we found that I was presuming that the hot module reloading was happening higher up this like up the DOM, up the stack ish, and it's not. It's a little bit lower than I was expecting. So we can like move all that setup work for Tauri above that. So the hot reloading only happens with your app and not the like attachment of this tray item. That being said, though, I think some of this speaks to the value of doing parts in. Apparently that broke. I did upgrade OBS for other reasons. I think it might have fixed those other reasons, but it seems to, in the have process, broken my power up. Unless it happened and I missed it. But yeah, basically in the process of like shifting this up, we also get rid of this issue. So our dev will feel more like our actual production version. Did I really break that? Man, I need to like, I think I'm gonna end up going back and like rehashing a bunch of those like these things down there. They mostly work, but I want to tie stuff together a little bit better. And yeah, I feel like there's always one of them broken, right? Does the 3D work? Did I turn off the 3D too? You just want to say hi. Hey Gabe, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Also, what's up, Paul? I don't think I said what's up. Gabe, when you use it, add text afterwards. You should be able to do any text. Yes, like that. So that way still works. Like this. I just want to rehash a bunch of that. Drop tables. The drop is a filter. So if you do !drop, you can kind of guess on what I called each of those things that are falling down, and you can like this might be a fun one. Drops. I can't remember if I called it stars, but that should just be strictly stars. I wouldn't mind getting back into Blender stuff a little bit. That might be something that we jump into every once in a while to break up the topics. Okay. Anyways, we have stream to do. I think I'm gonna leave this. Is it gonna cause an issue? Possible. I might need to not run this. But I mean, this thing is needs to go away anyway, so. Okay. Git checkout main and git pull and open that up. And let's go ahead and look at the rest right away. Yeah, so we've got Rust and JavaScript in this template, and the JavaScript has a bunch of setup files, but then I have a hook. I don't need I never liked putting it in use effect. We kind of just tossed it in there on stream because it was quick and I knew it would work enough. But I think we can lift this a little bit higher in the stack, somewhere maybe outside of the actual like render call. Those multiple, yeah, and that's the reason, Gabe, is the right now every time it mounts, where is it? Oh, oh, view. That's where I'm looking. Every time the app mounts, it's firing off this hook, and this hook is the where I have the logic to mount the tray. And that's kind of one of the downsides of implementing some of these pieces in. I just noticed. I'll come back to that in a sec. One of the downsides of implementing this in a hook in use effect is that every time the hardware module reloads, it's remounting this. And if you would do it in Rust, you wouldn't really need to think about that. The downside is you lose potentially a little bit of flexibility, at least from the user side of things. So if you're doing a tray that is going to be just, set it and forget it, dump it into Rust, it probably will be fine. But in this case, we were looking to enable a system tray that was a little bit more dynamic. In which case, doing some of that work in JavaScript might make sense, because that would allow somebody to then have a settings menu and configure it. Nicola says you do hot module reloading with Turbo. Is that Turbo Pack? Turbo Pack. Okay, so I would say is it just Turbo? What's the now I'm just we're going like multiple tangents here. Turbo, not Turbo Tax, really? Why did you? Nope. Sure. Vercel. This is what, when you said Turbo, this is what I was thinking of. But there's also, so like Turbo Repo, I guess they've now redubbed it, is the thing that used to be just Turbo. But Turbo Pack is the builder. Turbo Pack, I'm assuming, runs Astro Dev Server, TypeScript ES build, Tauri app. Wow, that's that is like jam packed with context here. So Astro Dev Server, TypeScript ES build, Tauri app runs PNMP run Turbo, and it runs. So when you start your dev server, are you using Cargo? So you say the Tauri app runs PNMP. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like a build script is npm run Tauri dev, and dev starts up Turbo. Got it. And it runs Astro Dev and another task. Got it. Okay. The while we're down the rabbit hole of configuration, where is here it is. I don't know that you actually have to have a, if you're using Turbo, I don't know that you actually even need to include something like npm or pnmp in here. that skips. I don't know that it's actually going to make a noticeable difference, but I'm pretty sure you can use turbo directly here because it's going to be in the context. Cool. Code editor land ecosystem. Yeah, sure way. Why not? We can take a look. See. Coming back to Gabe, you can't handle the state outside of the use effect. I can. That putting it in there was the fastest thing to do. We were doing it on stream, and shipping was the first. Was the primary objective. Now that it's shipped, now I want to fix it. So I want to move it outside of the use effect. Is the short of it. Basically, I wasn't expecting hot module reloading to be that annoying or cause that much of an issue, which is why I chucked it in there, shipped it, and called it a day. But if I put it outside of the React.DOM render, as far as I've seen, at least with VT, it's basically just like reloading this, or it's rerunning this. So if I put something up here, it's not going to basically this is going to be a more definitive like run once, which I think should be good. I mean, in some ways, the downside of that is that if we change anything regarding the tray, we would need to like close and then restart it, because the script to like restart the hot module reloading will do the app itself. Changing anything on the Tauri side will restart the like whole app process. So I guess like if I would put it here and I would initialize the tray here, then I would almost have to just like go in and have the configuration open or something like that and just do a fake save in there to get the whole app to reload every time, which is a little bit annoying. But I don't feel like I do enough in that code for that to be like, having this is more annoying. I would prefer the trade-off of it being a little bit more annoying having to reload the whole app. Because right now anything in here is re-rendering, and then we're getting a whole bunch of these. So the reason though that I put it in this hook and in the setup, this setup.ts, we are grabbing the state here and returning it, and then we were passing it to context. And I think it's still this way. If you have something existing, it's more difficult on the like within JavaScript to like hook into the actual let's look at some code real quick. And actually we might want to adjust some of this too. Well, I say that this is actually going to go away, so not a big deal. But the setup tray, so this is our click action. So we're basically we're doing the new constructor on the tray icon. And by doing this, you are creating the tray. Once you have the tray created, you have a handle to it. For the most part, the APIs work that, and this is like with the window and the web view too, I think. The way to grab a handle to it again is to do this same thing. I want to say the window has got an API now to not create a window. So you can pass an arg that basically says like, never create a window. You're just trying to get a handle. I'm not sure like how that fails or whatnot, but so part of it was ease of use and doing it just to get the to have a direct access to this handle right away and not having to like recreate the handle. But well, I wasn't expecting. Oh, where is this? I wasn't expecting this to be as big of a deal as it is. What about use sync external star? You could have the system item handling in JS outside of React. Yeah, so I mean, part of it is in our JavaScript, like in the main app JavaScript, we want to have handles. All we really need is the handles to be able to extend it. So if somebody wants to like set up a settings menu where you can add tray items, that's all we would really need. It would be the handle to be able to like do that extension. So we could move the code that actually initializes it outside of, like in this case, we can move it outside of the React.render. Because we only want that initialization happening once. Oh, hi, Kitty. So what about use sync external store? I don't know. Any of the stuff that is like side effect you're throwing in, anything to do with the like React and mounting, I think you're gonna run into this like weird. At the very least, I think you're gonna run into this weird dead time issue where every time the thing remounts due to hot module reloading, you're gonna get this situation. Um, come on, Kitty. I do not need that tail in my face. Oh my goodness. Trying to click and she's bumping my elbow. She's very needy right now. Can you? Yeah, you can see her a little bit. All right. Anyways, the interesting setup here. So we've got PNMP workspace. Here's your Turbo JSON. Oh, so you do have Turbo. To what do they call it? Turbo repo. Vanilla and elements. Elements mountain. URL. I love all the elements. Literally, I just realized, literally called elements. Doing a lot with the modules and in mountain. Okay. The only reason I haven't gotten more into the Git modules is I feel like folks struggle with understanding and maintaining a. Yeah, so you had this issue, oh my god, and wondered forever why the hot module reloading isn't working. Wait, which issue? So the hot module reloading should happen through. Okay, so you're running, let's see, dev before dev command. PNMP run. That's kind of funny. Dev URL, republish. So you've got you have an actual. Wait, which? So this is going to be in. Do we get all the way to the root? Is it this? Is it this one? Dev dependencies, bugs, author, scripts, run, turbo, run. And run. Got it. Okay. Mounting and hot module reloading. But it was for solid. Yeah, like the hot module reloading is great. But I feel like we sort of like go in cycles of like we get really deep into enabling things with hot modular reloading, and then we like hit some edge case or hit some like weird thing, and then people like rethink how hot modular reloading needs to go. It's getting really good though. I honestly would not like to do dev without it. All right, so what I was saying, I think this is gonna work. Once you are running, like once you kick the thing off, I think it has the context of node modules. So I don't know that you actually need to like. I might be wrong. Yeah, I'm. Anything get modules. It's just I understand why or the potential use case behind it, but I feel like in the ideal world, it feels like it would work. It works nice. So code editor land and sky is element sky that yeah. Okay. So do you use TurboPack at all then? Because wait, is TurboPack on I haven't kept up enough with TurboPack. It's its own bundler, right? So you're actually using Turbo Repo, not TurboPack. Turbo Repo. Okay, that makes more sense. And that was kind of what was confusing me before. TurboPack would TurboPack would fill a similar role to ESBuild, which is that was part of my confusion. I don't even know what they're like. They're redoing a bunch of it, and I don't remember what is what now. I can't remember if it's built on top of something. Because there's also RSPack, and I can't remember if this was originally built on top of ESBuild. Yeah, the hot module reloading is just an ESBuild watch coming from. Okay. There's so many ways to set things up now. Honestly, it's if it works for you, then you know. The thing that I'm mostly just curious about is I don't know that you actually, well, because you're using a filter there. I don't know that you need to do PNMP there. Nice. Hi, Benjamin. There's a graph in the README, by the way. Is your Gabe? Is your son getting into programming too? Benjamin, what is what kind of programming stuff do you like to do? My littles are just a little bit too little. We haven't quite gotten into. We did actually a little bit of a Scratch, but that was prior to my oldest is just getting to the point where she feels comfortable, or I get the feeling that she feels more comfortable reading now. So it's been on my mind to like get back into it and bring it up because there's so much that like the ability to read and understand text from docs or from the thing that you're working on. It is a lot of the stuff that all the fun stuff that you can do. It seems to require that at some level. Even something like Scratch, when you're moving pieces around, all the explanations of all of that is in written word. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Scratch it's nifty, but there's still some reading that you need to do, and I feel like by the time you learn all like the semantics of everything of Scratch, I almost feel like it's easier to jump into something else. But we got a little like microcontroller sensor type thing it's like a prepackaged thing, and it's basically like a skinned version of Scratch plus visualizer on top of this like microcontroller, and it is Frozen themed. Honestly, kind of nifty. But we worked through it a little bit. We haven't played with it too much lately, but yeah, it's. I like the idea of Scratch. In practice, I haven't. At least for me, it hasn't worked out and with the folks that I've used it with. Anyways, okay. So the thing that I would be curious about, Nicola, is in your commands, you're using PNMP to then run turbo. I would be curious if you could just run turbo directly here. I think it works, but I'm not 100% certain offhand. And we can maybe try it. I don't remember what our setup is here. Is there? Can we try it quickly? Doing a build and then a dev, and our dev would be package. So it's doing dev. So it's just calling Vite. Let's test that real quick. See if I am remotely correct. Because the problem, like it's questionable, like how much of an issue is. But especially like digging into it, it feels like it's a bigger issue on Windows, partly because the signals don't work as well, or they just kind of don't exist. But when you have a whole ton of nested child processes, I feel like especially in Windows, things don't always shut down very well. You get the same issue with it works nice. You get the same issue with zombie processes on like on Mac or whatnot, but because some of it is just depending on how they did the code to properly handle and pass the signals through and shut down those children. Part of it is dependent on that, so you can do that well or not so well, and then have this issue across operating systems. But especially on Windows, it's very difficult to do. So basically, the reason I would do this for the most part, I don't think you'll see a performance value out of it, but you're basically like skipping one potential layer of child process type stuff. So if you can go, the scripts are nice to like kick things off. So use the script for a top level thing, and then after that, I try to not refer to scripts, because then that also ties you into a specific like package manager. Not as big of a deal because it is a lot of work to switch anyways, but just having it not directly tied to it is nice in my mind. There are, since we're way down the rabbit hole, is it like run to develop it. Whoop. That is awkward. I don't know if he published it or not. Does he have a link to? Okay, let's try npm dot npmjs.com. Okay, run to, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't have any links to it. But what this is doing is, yeah. So once you start getting like the amount of nesting that is happening, you start to get into these weird issues where, if you use TS Node, you're doing like PNMP to run TS Node, which then runs your thing with TypeScript adjustments in there, and like chaining enough of that stuff together. Yeah. So I've started seeing these kind of things pop up, which rather than asking the user to like remove some of this nesting. They're basically just like skipping over. You know, you say run this thing, and it goes, oh, well, I know how to run this thing. It's this script, so then I can figure out what the script is, and then I can run this thing directly. I basically like skip pieces of the chain. So I don't know. Ecosystem things, right? I guess that's in some ways that's why people opt to use like cargo for everything. But in the new node 22 or 2 or something, there's now a npm run test, npm run lint. Yeah, unfortunately, the node dash dash run not quite as performant as other options. I'm sure it'll get there eventually, but it's not quite there yet. And that's like, so if you're seeing cases where it is actually running faster, it's probably because you've basically just, by using node dash dash run, you've removed some of those layers of pieces running other pieces. But like raw performance, node dash dash run is not quite as fast as like PNMP or npm running. So I don't know. And at the end of the day, like 200 milliseconds, single startup, how much of a deal is it? Once you start getting over a second, though, then it actually does start to make a difference. So yeah, was there anything else that Gabe had brought up? Oh yeah, we were talking about use sync external store. Okay, I think we covered all that. Bastion, nice to see you stop by. Not related to the subject, but do you know if Tauri behaves like capacitor for transferring blob or buffer data between the JS part and the native part, or is it the same when using base 64? I think that is a bit of a it depends type answer. V1 in general, V1 is slightly different than V2. Well, I say slightly, but in reality, it's more significantly. The way that JS is communicating with Rust is different between V1 and V2. I think in V2 you still can use like what we were doing in V1, but the switch in V2 was that the transport that we're using in V2 is more HTTP like, because we were finding that in V1 the transport protocol that we were using, I think technically they still both use IPC, but the serialization of the data is slightly different. It was fine in V1 if you weren't doing like big blobs or binary type data. You start to hit performance issues though in V1, depending on like the type of data that you're doing with V1. So in V2, using this different protocol, we've seen better results. But I don't know that I've seen any actual, like, personally, I haven't seen any specific performance testing on like what the difference is or whatnot. I just know that it's better, and I'm sure we'll end up having like more public information or whatever on that as people test it out and do some comparisons and whatnot. But does that, hopefully that answers some of your question? I'm not terribly familiar with how capacitor does it. So making a comparison to capacitor is would require to me like look things up or read. There is, if you want to dig into it a little bit more, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to remember which stream it was offhand, but we dug into the IPC which stream was that? File streaming, I think. You already experimented with other tools like capacitor, and on large files it was hellish. That could be the reason. I mean, honestly, part of V2 also, I think, is with the plugin ecosystem or just the plugin interface being given more attention, being able to like write a plugin or sort of like circumvent pieces that make sense. If doing it through the default protocol is giving you issues, you have a little bit more capacity to do it in a different way. I want to say the file streaming might be a good thing to look at. If you haven't just tried V2, if you're seeing, if you've tried V1 and you're having poor results, give V2 a try. If you've tried V2 and you want to know more about like how that stuff works, I want to say the file streaming one is the copy paste. I want to say this is the one where we sort of dug into how those pieces are connected. And maybe some of the events and commands. I don't quite remember. I need to get back to, I was intending to like catalog a lot of these, but time. Just haven't gotten to it yet. I want to say somewhere around in here we were really digging into. I want to say it's like one of these two, and maybe the global hotkeys. We were digging in pretty deep into like how those pieces are all connected. You're waiting for V2 to be a little bit more stable. If it's a greenfield app, then I would encourage you to just give V2 a shot. I think it's getting pretty stable at this point. And you got package locks and cargo lock. But the hey now, Nicola, are you commenting on my my lack of thumbnail design? it's very obvious when you look at this page. I took one picture that I haven't like had the bandwidth to come back to and improve upon. I have a couple of different ones. Every once in a while. Actually, no, this background has changed. Everything else is the same. Yeah, I did a few different at the beginning, and then I need more time in the day. So yeah, long story short, V2 is stable enough. If you got like a production app though, then yeah, I totally understand. You used to have some heavy stuff to migrate. Yeah, especially on the mobile side. Okay, yeah, fair. You might be able to do like small tests. If you have a very specific case, if you can reproduce it in, like run a create Tauri app, if you can reproduce it, I would definitely be, at least personally, curious V1 versus V2 for that use case. Otherwise, I would search in like the issues or in Discord. I know people have run into it before, and V2 has been better. I can't recall seeing any actual like data or anything past that though. Just that it seems to run better. So I think it's one of those things too. The better we're able to track it and establish metrics around it, the easier it is going to be to encourage folks to actually try to improve it. And we do have the Tauri. There's examples. So I think in one of those streams, I think maybe in the one that I linked, I think we're looking at the streaming example. Yeah, so this uses example custom URI scheme protocol. So like this is what I mean by you have potentially more options of V2. So you can do some custom stuff if the thing that you are working on is particularly sensitive. I think that's probably the main one. Here we can check real quick. I want to say what this, yeah, this is streaming a video. And it does that's a lot of code. Get stream response, command video URI, path push, stream. Where's get stream response coming from? Match. Register asynchronous URI scheme protocol. So they register a custom protocol called stream, and then they call this function. And this function is like a custom code to actually stream the video file itself. So there's options, and I want to say there's more options in V2 to work around or make adjustments for this. Some of it I think is becoming more of a default. So in just switching from V1 to V2 might actually be sufficient. But you can really dig in based on your specific use case. And again, I don't think we've done actually too much with the, should we pull it up? Reopen Close tab. The is it benchmarks? I don't remember now. Benchmarks. Nope. Benchmarks. This here, custom protocol with local files. Check out this too. So if you really want to, especially if you want to get involved with this kind of stuff, Bastion, if you have some outside incentive to make this stuff faster, working through it and putting it in benchmarks and benchmarking it either here or through those examples will be a good way to really highlight the places that could be improved. So some of it is you have options in V2 to work around it if you have issues, but also like maybe not V2, but V3, etc. Like I think V1 and V2 are the big like feature majors. V3 is still sort of like amorphous. What is going to be the thing? What's going to be the stuff that ships with V3? I suspect performance things are going to be particularly interesting in future work. And those would be things that could potentially necessitate breaking changes. So even if we can like bring stuff to light and figure out better ways to do it, even if it doesn't go in V2, there's plenty more majors come down the line, I'm sure. So long story short, I would check out those two places. Check out that video, and I walked through a whole bunch of it. Yeah, and I will be curious what results you find. All right. Anyways, we are almost an hour into it, and I love the tangents, but we have not made any progress here. There's, I don't think, going to be too much. Let's look personal tray app. Oh, I was gonna try this. Nicola, you said that it works already, so I'm not gonna bother right now. Let's just look at the Rust side of things real quick here and see what we have going on. We have Leptos, some commands, toast message, toast. So this all ends up being in our web view. Our main RS here is mounting stuff into the web view. And source Tauri, I think, is where we're going to want to look. We've got the tray icon builder, and on tray icon event, yeah. So this is going to be where we want to, we're doing custom code here. I think this is going to be the piece that we replace. Nice. Rudrush? Is that Rudrush? Rudrush? I want to say Rudrush. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because I would like to sort of disrespectful. Rudrush? Okay. I always feel like it's disrespectful if I'm mispronouncing folks' names incorrectly, even if it's not intentional. Like, I want to respect y'all. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Love the Tauri. Love the Tauri work. I mean, I am biased. I'm involved with the project, so but yes. Okay, so we are going to. We're mostly looking at the positioning, so I think we're going to end up like swapping out these bits. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got a plugin notification. We're going to end up being I suppose we go to the guide, and let's look at what the guide is for installing it. And I think we can use cargo here. And if we go into Rust, let's give this a shot. You're very new to this. What's a good place to start for beginners? I feel like beginners is a very relative term, because you could be new to Rust, you could be new to Tauri, you could be new to web dev, you could be new to programming in general, and all of those would be very different answers. If we're talking Tauri specifically, there's a Create Tauri app. If you look at the at least on V2, it's right on the homepage. I think V1 has got it on the homepage too. Yeah. If you want to spin something up, if you have any background with web tech, probably something with NPM. If you're more backend non-web dev type coding background, probably running through Cargo would be sufficient. It's not going to be the same as doing Java or whatnot, but nice. Okay, so you have a little bit of background. You're in R3F. The should we do the here? I'll do it myself. This is a React 3 fiber scene with Rapier for physics. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like you've gotten into it a deep amount. I would. No worries. Even I digress myself. I'm perfectly fine with it. And y'all get into some very interesting questions. So I'm never going to be annoyed with distractions or things that seem to be distractions. I don't really consider them distractions. Okay, we did install. We're Paul dropping the truth. Okay, so we did an install. We haven't bumped this project in a while, so we might end up having to do that. Only one package. Yes. Okay. So, oh, and this is the other issue. The Okay. Well, whatever it was, it didn't come in with the right version. We do need the tray icon regardless, so that'll be fine. And then I think what we end up doing is a should be a workspace, I think. So if we do a cargo update, or is it cargo upgrade? I always just run both of them. I feel like we've done this in stream multiple times, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's this one," and I can never remember either way. Just run both of them every time. I do not know why. I mean, I guess I do know why I can't keep that in my head, because upgrade and update are sort of interchangeable, and I feel like every CLI uses them slightly differently. Okay, so hopefully that process ends up making stuff work. While that is going, though, what I'm going to do is we do need this. It says it needs it in the lib. We've got a main rather than a lib, which should be fine. And it is dumping it in the setup. Do we have, is this all set up? Yeah, this is all set up. So we didn't get the init. We also need the init in there. When we hit this error, it didn't finish all of the actual updates. So we're sort of like in manual mode at this point. I'll put this in here, and then like if we click over here, we're basically going through this. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like that's just outdated. So setup app. I think we're basically going to do something in the vein of this. But I want to say it looks like we already have some of that already. So we've got a tray icon builder, and we're calling a .build app. So we should be able to, I believe, just chuck this on here. Okay. Bets on if that actually worked. So we got the event as the docs describe, describe. Subscribe. Ha. And then we're pretty much going to do something in the vein of this. What we have right now is on left click, it is figuring out sizes and then position, and then we set the focus. So we're setting position and we're setting focus. So instead of doing the position, we're going to end up doing, I'm going to just comment these bits out. This I think we do or will continue to want. So we're just going to chuck that up here for the moment. And so right click hides, double click, we're not handling, left click, we are getting a window, and then we're showing it. Then we are setting some sizes. I don't think we care about this as sizes. I'm going to just comment that out for the moment. Because the reason being, I think we can mostly depend on this being set. So I don't think we need to like reset the size every time. Although, resizable. Now we don't need to. Now we don't need to know that or care about somebody resizing it because they can't. So this bit right here, I think, is the bit that we're going to end up replacing with this. This is grabbing get web view window. Okay, so that's doing the code that we already have. And it looks like it needs to be mutable, perhaps. So then here we want to window.asRef, window, move window position, and we're going to say it is trace center, I believe, is what we ended up settling on. That would be, I believe, in a hook. Nope. Setup tray. Tray center. Okay. And then we're setting the focus. So I think we can then get rid of this bit here. I think we're actually just going to delete all this. And we do the order slightly different here. So get current. So we move the window first and then we show it and set the focus. So I'm going to do the same here. We're going to move the window first and then show it in focus. Okay, I think that is going to be all that we need. Why are we unresolved import? Okay, we might need to deal with that. This is unused because we have it commented out here. I think because, yeah, like having a default in there is difficult. We'd have to find like a keyboard shortcut that isn't common. And then window event. What is this? Okay. So we do, I think we still do want that. In which case that should go away. Okay, so we might just have to deal with the click type. And we can do cargo Tauri dev. Might need to actually update that command. I don't know when I updated that command last. We're probably gonna have to go look at the docs for this click type. I'm kind of hoping that the Rust compiler will just help us out and tell us what's wrong. That would be my ideal. Still more compiling. Some of this is like front end versus back end. The compiling here, waiting for your front end, lepto story. So like this is the compilation for leptos. That's your front end, the front end that is going within the web view. And now here app, this is actually the backend Rust side of things. You think this is the start of your Rust rabbit hole journey? I am glad that I'm here to enable it for you. Just in general, the using Rust I enjoy. So the more cases that I can find myself being interested in a thing that will then get me into Rust, the more I tend to lean into it. Quick question: what time is it for me? I'm in Central. I'm out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I think I have that listed on my website, so I'm not like doxing myself or anything. But so I'm streaming during the middle of the day here. My work is flexible that I can that I'm able to do that, which is something I appreciate. Okay, unresolved import. No click type in tray. We have some unused imports, that's fine. No field click type on type tray icon event. Okay. Nice. End of day for you in the UK. Yeah. It's having the littles, as I'm sure Gabe is aware, it's hard to get anything done after, like once the workday ends, it ends up being a lot of family time. And my free time or like computer free time happens after all of that, and et cetera, et cetera. It's got to be like 11 midnight by the time I'm available to do anything else, and I'm not streaming at that point. So, um, streaming mid slash morning-ish for my time zone works because I can kind of catch some folks that are in the US, but then I can catch all the folks too in like European time zones where um or like that portion of the world where it's the end of their day and it's not the middle of the night. I mean, there's no way that I'm going to be able to catch everybody, but that catches the biggest swath of folk that speak the language I speak. Is sort of the thinking, and time convenience for me. From a stupid European point of view, is this where yes, it is actually. Milwaukee tools are made in the Milwaukee area. Yes, there's a handful of things that Milwaukee is famous for. Beer, I guess, at least in the North America, there's. I mean, when you're comparing to like Germany and some European towns, Milwaukee pales in comparison. But beer, the tools, and um, that's about it. there's lots of other things. We've got a whole bunch of sports stadiums and such, but yeah. Um, yes, I will second that recommendation, Paul. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay. Click types. We need to. We might end up having to do the permissions too, but I'm presuming this is correct, and it's just the click types that we need to deal with, and that would be under that was so bright. I don't know if I can redo it. It was so bright that it actually changed the color of my green screen. That's why I got the fuzzy. Click events. We might need to look at cargo actually for this. This is I'm under JavaScript anyways. Let's see. Where would that be under? Let's search for it. Not fine. I want to find here. We're going to look for click. Okay, so there's a click. Click, and there's position. So let's try that. We're gonna start going down that. And it's not actually giving us any errors now. So click. Unknown. Oh, here we go. Match on event dot. So what we got a click ID, the ID of the tray icon? No. Enter, move, leave. Position, button, mouse button that triggered the event. That might be it. I think we're looking at button. So let's look at the tray icon event. I'm guessing that's probably, oh, that's where we are right now, actually. I'm thinking we want to get to here. Yeah, because this is going to be left, middle, right. And our check here is the click left, click right, click double. We're not using the double, so that isn't too big of a deal. But I think the thing too that I would find useful in, I'm by far and away more familiar with the JavaScript ecosystem. I've done a bunch of Rust things. I've done a walk through the Rust book years ago, but I don't exercise the skill enough to like stay fresh enough, and in tandem with reading the docs, that I feel like I always get to the docs and then I'm like, okay, well, I need to do a thing. How do I do the thing? If I have examples, I can copy and paste them, but like seeing this, okay, so we're under tray icon, like attaching pieces of the docs and like what the methods are to the actual like thing. I feel like I still could use some. Here we go. I see it. I could still use practice with that. Okay, so if we go here, we've got there's a menu on left click. Oh, okay, that's on menu event. So there's an on tray icon event. Oh, this is probably clicking in on menu events, since for menu events. Got it. Okay, so that would be anything. And we are using the on tray icon event. And that comes off of tray icon builder. So there, on tray icon event. So we get a tray icon and a tray icon event. Okay, well, so then with this, we are getting a click, enter, move, and leave. So I think we're on the right track. Now we just need to know how to, we're matching on an event. So if we just if we do the match on event, is that actually going to be sufficient? I think it is, because we're specifying click left, click right, and I think we could probably just take this out. No click in tray. Okay. So maybe that isn't the way to do it. Is this one of those like, this is where I start to like, I know there's some syntax like this. Click. Oh, what did that fill in here? Okay. Button. Can I go like this? And I want the click. Oh, well, here, let's, what was that under? Tray icon event, click. Tray icon event. And now I can do this. That'll make that at least a little bit cleaner. And I don't need ID. I just need button, I think. So I think if I do this, match arm with no body. So this, I think, then is going to be a button dot. Tray icon event. Click. I feel like I'm on the right track. Remembering that syntax, I always need to like look this up. I can never remember that offhand. Missing match arm. So underscore is not covered. That is fine. Missing structure fields. If you don't care about these missing fields, you can explicitly ignore them. Okay, well, I'm fine with just like filling them all in for right now. Let's roll with this. Sure. Fix my match arms. There we go. There we go. Oh my. Okay. Let us. And this is the between IDE help and the compiler and everything. Like, I think we're looking at this. Is that gonna give me all the match arms and everything? All right. What are we complaining about here? Expected one of. Did you see the fuzz? Nicola, you feel like this really got your skill honed down, and it's thanks to startup infrastructure. How you set up the boilerplate, modularize the code. Are you talking about rustlings? Rustlings in general? It's funny because like I did so much with Rust around cargo and publishing and getting packages out and everything like that. I was actually more familiar with cargo than I was with like writing Rust. I could read it, I could read Rust, and I like understand what's happening. And like all the ways you can set up and configure stuff with cargo, I knew those really well. But then like coming to writing it, I struggle every time, which is funny because that's the thing that I end up doing on stream. But like that's just how I got into Rust because of Tauri. So all the stuff that I've done for Tauri have been around those like understanding cargo and like reading the code and seeing all these pieces are stuck together. I write very little Rust for the Tauri ecosystem. I am involved in other ways. If you need to open a window in full screen for each monitor connected and render a different R3F scene canvas for each window, it sounds like each monitor is going to need its own window. So you're going to be opening multiple web views or multiple web view windows. One window can contain multiple web views. In your case, though, I think it's basically going to be one-to-one. A window with a web view. Each monitor will have one of those. And there's APIs for all of those things. And you can then maybe when you press a button or something like that, it opens up multiple windows, and then all of those windows are opened up on like every monitor gets a window, and then each one of those would have to go full screen. The it is really fuzzy. That is bothering me. Is it bothering anybody else too? Do I need to? I gotta deal with it. It's gonna bother me. Let's bump up the light a little bit. There we go. Still. I feel like it's particularly dark out today. There. That might be a little bit too much, but it's fine for right now. All right. Ironically, the thing that we were trying to get to work seems to be the thing that is probably going to be the easiest to get to work. Tray icon event. Okay, so unresolved import. No click in tray. Let's get rid of that first. I don't know if that's going to like clear up some of these errors, but unexpected token. So I don't need an enter, move, or leave. And I think some of this like generated weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just straight up start out and see if I can get some help with all of the match terms and everything. So we want I don't know if I need the tray icon, but we'll say tray icon and event match event. And I think we can do a fill match terms. This is what I was looking for. So now in theory, this should be valid. And here we got the click. So if, so the event is coming in slightly different. We get a click, an enter, move, and a leave. So then in button, I think we could potentially do a match too. So we're not going to do anything in these. And I mean, it's probably fine that I leave those as that. But if I do a match on a button, can I do a, nope. I want the fill match terms. Fill match terms. There we go. So now we can take this little bit of code here, and each of these is going to be one of those. Uncomment. Right click. Match button left. Match button right. Bam. Okay. So this is one of many reasons I enjoy writing Rust is that the fuzzies. Really? Okay. Can we fix this? Can we? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but no, that made it worse. Come on. Can't get any why did my keying just get all goofy all of a sudden? That is weird. Is it wow. Okay. We are going to I think too it is the my green screen's a little bit further back than normal, and I wonder if I actually had a new green screen. It seemed like it was going to be configured the same, it appears that I was wrong about that. So if I go up, we are too much down. Okay. Okay. This is annoying. I don't like my keying was fine when we started, right? Making it worse. Making it so much worse. Okay. Okay. All right. We're going to I don't think this is helping at all. Oh my goodness, really? Am I gonna just have to like re-chroma key this right in the middle of the stream? How did it get so bad? I was fixing it, I swear. All right. Oh, it's not awful now, I guess. All right. Let us. Nope. That's a little bit better. Okay. I will need to clean that up later, but it'll work. It'll work for now. At least y'all can like see the screen. My Windows and Tauri video will be nice for you. You think? Are you on Windows or are you on a different operating system? Oh wait, Windows and Tauri, literally meaning using Windows within the using multiple Windows in a Tauri app. I was thinking the capitalization threw me off. I was assuming operating system. Yeah, there is. We also did this. Okay, we're gonna have to go like this. There is this app and Toy Playground might have a few things. Anything that doesn't fit into other repos and is Toy related goes in here. So all the like experimental stuff or the beginnings of some of these things that we split out are in that repo. But this one specifically is set up to be like Windows. The thumbnail for that video says not the operating system. That's great. Oh, and apparently I've started my own repo. Go me. Yeah. Clearly I run into that problem. So I was like, I assume everybody else is going to need clarification. Okay. We now have, there's going to be a bunch of stuff in here that we don't need. I'm not concerned about any of these warnings for the moment. We can clean those up. And finished. By the way, are links working? I'm presuming not. What I can see is also what the stream can see. And yeah. So you tried a lot. Yeah. Don't actually make it a link, or maybe DM it to me if it's something that you want to show on stream. YouTube just like, it's got a lot of spam protection built in, and I don't have any control over it, nor do I have visibility into it. So it's basically just, I mean, in some ways it's nice. I'm sure it's blocking stuff that I would not want to see. But in other ways, like I have no indication that you were trying to drop a link and it's being blocked. So I think potentially what I might try to do, I mean, there's not even like roles really that we can use to get around it. I don't know. I want to try to deal with that better in the future, but maybe give somebody some role or something in YouTube where you can share links. But I haven't gotten that far yet. That's probably going to come with the rehashing stuff here a little bit. And speaking of yeah, I know like mods and I can share links. So a few people that I've known for a long time have made mods. The like who did I think I only have a couple mods actually, or people marked as mods. um, but obviously that doesn't scale. I can't make everybody a mod, so I don't know. I will hopefully eventually figure something out, but until then, basically what you did is probably going to be the way that we need to share stuff. Okay, so on tray icon event, I suppose also can I share this without like doing too much doxing? This should be fine. Like this here in the Tauri apps Discord. If you're in that, you can drop links in here too. That might be sufficient too. But again, people that just swing by and aren't in the Discord, that doesn't work. Hey Chris, how are you doing? Good to see you. Oh, can you get the Discord link? Yeah. Tauri apps. There should be, where to go? Oh, this is here. If you go to v2.tauri.app, there's a link right up here, which I guess is just discord.com/invite/Tauri. That's the I went into those fancy links. But yeah, the problem is not everybody Discords. So I don't know. Problem for future me. Anyways, let us stop this. I can't tell what is what. This appears to be running. It panicked, I think, partly because of all of those things there. So this should give us a, oh. Panicked on main RS line 83. Enter. We're not actually going to do anything with these. I'm going to just comment them out for the, wrong shortcut. Comment them out for the moment. So on the match arm, we are doing a match on event. And I bet you this TODO is the thing that's throwing. Well, let's try it. Oh, that is what I want. I don't know if the TODO is the piece that's throwing. I'm gonna make this swap at least. So if I hover over it now, is it gonna crash? Yeah. So it is, I guess it is that to do. If I just do this, it's kind of interesting that, like, I kind of would have expected an error or something. Or not an error, but like an indication that it's just a to do. Like, I would have expected it to no op effectively. But it's like literally crashing the program. Okay, so that seems to work now. All right. We got a right click. We got a left click. That threw an error. Okay. Line 190. Oh, thread main panicked at the positioner. Tray position not set. Oh, okay. So this is, we're actually running into this on the JavaScript side of things too. And I think we're probably gonna have to solve for it. If we make it visible, I mean, in theory, I guess the plugin should not throw. So this might be a adjustment at that level. So we're getting a left click, tray position not set. So on tray event. Oh, we have, is this why? Are we like blitzing it basically? So we've got a tray icon, app handle, and event. I guess I'm guessing that this is basically not being run, right? So how do we deal with that in our match arm now? Like, I basically want to be passing it to both. Match event, click. So I guess, can we do something like this? And if we just do this, I don't know how much it's gonna, I mean, we're using a reference. Can we then just get rid of this? Yeah, I thought this was gonna be a pain. Oh boy, that's big. Yeah, I think it's gonna be easy to read in the terminal. Yeah, that's big. Holy cow. Bound by a, required by a bound introduced by this call. Oh, app. We named it tray icon here. So if I do that, there we go. That's less errors than I was. This was more what I was expecting. Oh, that does work. Okay, cool. So, here we go. So when we click it, it is centering it above this here. So now I think, can I undo this? Because I don't want it visible when it starts up. So that should restart it. We'll get a new app icon. Click. There we go. Yep. Okay. So the problem was that we basically had two on Tauri icon events, and basically this one was taking precedence. So we are passing all of the events to the plugin positioner, and then we're doing a match on event and selectively firing off things for a left click and a right click. And we can do additional we can handle events additionally, such as enter, move, and leave. But at the moment, I don't think we need to do that. So this should be sufficient. I'm kind of curious, is it gonna, yeah. So do we need to do like a, nope. Try ignoring. Ah, okay. Now why is that try ignoring? Oh, okay. Do I have to save? Yeah, there we go. All right. Let's see if we can get rid of a couple of these warnings. And then that, whoops, daisies. What did I do? Button, rect. Oh, trailing. Nope. Pattern does not mention field button state. Oh, do we use a button state in here? Did I copy paste? Copy paste error. Yep. Got it now. I see what I did. All right. Do you have anything else to? So our only warnings now are with this, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. I probably want to come back to and re-enable this, but I need to figure out like what shortcut. Oh, and this API seems to have changed, so that's not a today problem. Problem is I updated everything in the lock file, so it will end up becoming a today problem at some point. But I think this covers everything that we wanted to do here. What time we got? Let us see if we can speed run this real quick. And actually I can go. We still have it open, I think, right? So this is stream to do. Yes. When I hover over stuff, does it my stream feed on the problem for future Jacob. Yeah, problem is future Jacob has way too many problems already. Exponential. I think we can basically just like copy and paste this over. And this is going to end up being. Oh, nope, wrong shortcut. Speaking of future Jacob, my shortcut to move windows is different between operating systems, and I goof that up all the time. And I continue to push that issue off to future Jacob, and future Jacob is constantly annoyed at past Jacob for not having fixed it. There's a lot of animosity there, but in a good way. I mean, as good as it can be. So move window, and here we want this. I'm gonna grab this. This might end up being an issue that we need to deal with, but I'm gonna we'll just like get all the bits in there, and then I'll have to come back through and clean stuff up. And maybe that too. Okay, so we got the plugin in there. We want the see, hooks. I guess it's probably going to be most in the setup tray, I think. So right side is our new code, the updated code, and the left is what we had originally done. So this is a pretty clear comparison of, by pulling in this dependency, we have gone from this down to like this. And this works cross operating system, which is nice. I'm still not a huge fan of the trace center, but that's the best option. So it's like better, but not, I mean, perfect is relative, right? It's better, but there's still adjustments that I would like to do. We'll put it that way. I think we can pretty much just copy all of this. Focus, get one. Yeah, this is all going to be I'm going to just do this. There we go. And I think that is about it that we need to do here for the setup. Because nothing really changes in this, no. We did have in our shortcuts, I think. Yes. Window.center. So we got a little extra in here. I could probably just pull this over. Window, if visible, hide. Yeah, so we have a little bit of extra logic in here. I think I'm gonna actually just grab this and pull it over. We've pulled out command shortcut. Where's window? Window is and I don't really need that either. Okay, so this actually can all go away. And this can go there. We are going to grab this. And we might actually need to update this package too, so. And then all of this. What are we working on? Oh, no worries. No, I mean, honestly, no question. I would never consider a question stupid, so please don't put that on yourself. Oh, I missed Paul. It had a red line under the import on setup tray on the left. This, I think that is just because I haven't run an install yet. Can I find module? So I think once I install it, it'll do like an npm install. That'll show up fine. What are we working on? So a little bit of background. Since probably prior to V1 days, I've always been interested in the idea of using that, like for me, the value of a desktop app over just using like a web app or something is those like little bits of native functionality. And I would install an app, a desktop app, with the expectation to be like constantly running it. So like Discord is useful for me as a messaging program, and it makes sense for me to continually for it to be running in the background because I can get notifications. You know, I don't have to wait for startup time or whatever. So keeping that in mind, those specific use cases seem to be around this idea of running like a background process, something that's sitting in like your system tray and is constantly running. With the onset of V2, the APIs to enable this are sort of more fully formed in both JavaScript and Rust. Before it was a little bit more, you'd have to do more work in Rust. So as we started digging into V2 on stream, I mean, you can go back. There's actually a playlist, and I think this video is attached to it too. We've basically gone through the whole process of setting up all of the Tauri APIs that in my mind kind of make sense as a default feature set for an app that's going to be continually running or running in your system tray. That like the Venn diagram of folks that are making system tray apps are going to be likely using all of these three. There was also a couple other plugins that were probably, so this is effectively what we're working on right now, implementing the positioner plugin. Then there's some other features that seem to make sense. But the idea is that if you're running something like Create Tauri app, it's going to give you a minimal base to start off of. So you don't have to do all that like wiring and getting your Tauri configuration set up correctly. And that's nice to get somebody immediately into a Tauri app with flavors of their choosing. That being said, we've looked at the idea of doing recipes or like extensions on top of that, but the matrix of possibilities ends up just expanding exponentially. But I still really like this idea. So what we ended up doing was, at the moment at least, we made a template and we implemented as much of this functionality as we could in JavaScript and as much of this functionality as we could in Rust. So we effectively have like two branches. So then if somebody's using this template, we're expecting somebody to clone it or use, I guess is the verbiage that they use. What is with that button? And then effectively just go down the path of more JavaScript or go down the path of more Rust. But you can sort of like mix and match too. So like if you were doing JavaScript, if you opted for the JavaScript path, you could still pull some of these pieces from Rust. Like the shortcuts, you might not actually need those for how you're setting it up. You might not actually need those in JavaScript. It might be easier to just set a single shortcut, drop it in the Rust side of things, and don't think about it. So that covers those two folders, and the snippets, we really haven't gotten into those yet, but those would be for the plugins that are useful for this use case in general, but might not fit like the 90% use case. You know, it might be like 50% of the people that are going to make an app using this template might find value in it. So a snippet is something that you can kind of copy and paste. And all of this being said is different from the docs in that a guide will generally be explaining a single plugin, at least at the current time. Oh my goodness, that's bright. So like if we look at the plugin list, these are guides that go through and explain sort of the high level API. And we've done this. But the reason the template exists is because it does this for all of these plugins. So it's sort of like Create Tauri app ++ in some ways for this like specific use case. All of that being said, now that we have a template that a base where we can start working off of, I also had the use case of doing a and actually speaking of overlays, come back to that in a sec. There is this repo where that's that little to-do app that popped up in the corner. So once I get this a little bit more stable, I'm going to be running it on, like have it running in the background while we're streaming, and I can add to-do items to it, and it'll be a good way to say, establish what we're going to do in this stream and check things off as we go. And that's going to be helpful for my organization, but I hope it is also helpful for y'all to kind of like see as we progress through the sort of that checklist of things we wanted to get to on the stream. So we've done a bunch of work on this, which is generated from that same template. And now as we're like cleaning stuff up and making things actually work in a more real use case, we're pulling some of that functionality back into the template itself. Does that make sense? That was like a very long explanation, I feel like. And I guess side note is, if you're curious on stream setup stuff, this is where we do the React 3 Fiber stuff. And we pretty much did all of this on stream 2, if that's going to be your jam, something you want to look into. Yeah, so last week we implemented the positioner plugin in the To-Do app, and now we're pulling it back into the template and looking at both Rust, like as much Rust as we can and as much JavaScript as we can implementation. So right side, nope, other right side, it's mirrored. This is my left, which is very confusing, but right side is the To-Do app that we did updated last week with the positioner plugin, and left side is the template. So we're copying here and putting it here. All right, shortcut event. So this is outdated. Likely is the issue here. So I'm not gonna worry too much about that. And I think for the most part we can copy all this over. Yeah, because this is got a bit of overlap with what we're doing on the we're getting the window, and actually coming back to it, skip true. That's part of the key here. All of these bits are going to be the red squiggly should go away once we update, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. So the reason I say skip true, coming back to this, who was that now? The was it Gabe? Yeah, Gabe. You were asking about potentially lifting or otherwise shifting when the tray mounts, or when the tray is initialized relative to like when the app mounts, and how we're getting all those tray icons when we were running, and that hot module reloading was like continuing to create those tray icons. So part of it was that establishing handles, if we tried to do it and there was some issue with our code and we tried to establish a handle before skip equals true, it would just create a new window. You'd try to be like setting up a handle and it would just like generate a new window on you. And you get these like zombie windows. So by creating it and like keeping a handle around in the React context, that was sort of just convenient. But now the APIs are starting to get the skip equals true, and that basically like tries to establish a handle, and if it can't, then I think it returns undefined. I don't know if the hover is going to tell us here, because my we need to do an npm install to see the updated stuff. But the idea is then we can a little bit more freely try to establish handles and not have that like weird edge case, error case, where we just, instead of establishing a handle, we actually just create a new one. It's a pain to deal with that. So the fact that these APIs are starting to come through now, I feel a little bit more comfortable pulling that code out into the root and mounting it like earlier in the process, and then in the React code actually just reestablishing that handle. And I know the window has it. I mean, where we're using it. So It does. I think the tray got it now too. I'm not 100% certain, but we would have to come back and look at that. So if that is true, I think that is going to then point to the fact that this whole hook, pretty much everything in the use effect, I think this can all be lifted out and be initialized prior to the React DOM rendering. That would get it outside of the hot module reloading, and it should be fine still when it goes to production. And then this hook ends up becoming more of a reestablished handles to it. Except for maybe the store. The store might be, that might be a little bit different. But like this piece right here, store doesn't exist. Right? Setup store. Yeah. If our store doesn't exist, then make it. This could be outside of the hot module reloading. And actually, this might be part of the reason that we're getting those weird, would it be? I don't know. We've been like, it feels like the store is stickier than I expected it. There's some issue with that code somewhere, either ours or upstream, but I haven't gotten to figuring that out. Anyways, skip equals true. As that ends up being like trickling into all the other APIs, then we can hopefully get rid of most of this, which is going to feel good. Okay, I think we pretty much, I mean, we know it works in JavaScript. We've got it in the stream to do, so I'm not like set on testing it out here, because pretty much it's just copy and paste, lift and shift. And the reason I say that is because I think what we're going to have to do is these are going to all need to update too, and just dependency upgrade is not it's not thrilling work by any means. So I think we can probably just call this good. We covered it in both the Rust side of things, and then we covered it in the JavaScript side of things. And there wasn't too much there. Actually, most of the work that we had to do was updating for the new tray adjustments. So I guess that comes back to who was it that was doing the performance testing? Bastion. Y'all were still on V1 and waiting for V2 to be more stable. The point of least stability that I've found with V2 betas has been the trace, which is a bit ironic. It's all the stuff we're doing here. But like that's what you get for a beta. Things are going to potentially change. And the like especially with this positioner plugin, the here, let's not go to the diff view. Where is it? This trace center. I would like because there's like a tray left. The problem is trace all these tray ones. The attachment point for the app itself is on the left, so it's like left aligned. So I'd almost like right aligned versions of each one of these two. So that's the reason for betas. APIs change, and we need more folks to test stuff out. What do we do next week? There's what are we? I've got potentially some vacation coming up in a handful of weeks, so we probably have another like 2 or 3 weeks of weekly streams. We are looking at potentially doing another doc stream, but that's on the back burner at least for a couple weeks for reasons. There's a couple like guest stream, that kind of stuff that we've been trying to get worked out, but it just hasn't happened yet. So I can actually let me open up my stream planning list. We were talking about last stream. Paul brought up some SQL. It was SQLite, right? SQLite, I think. And then after the stream, Paul sent over the link that he was working on, which was pretty neat to see. Thanks for sending that over. And sounds like you ended up getting it worked out too, which is cool. But on the subject of SQL and SQLite, I want to get into like local first stuff on stream, and that is probably going to end up being a handful of streams. So I kind of want to like plan that for a time where we can like chain a bunch of them together and we don't have interruptions. Yes, you're welcome, Road Rush. Rude Rush. Glad we could be helpful. I think that's probably pretty top of my list. Because we looked at plugin development. I can actually cross that one off now. Async. I'm sorry, but I don't remember who wanted to dive into async code within Tauri. But Tauri uses Tokyo for some of the async work, and you can like tie into that basically. Come on, squiggly line. There we go. We might look at that. That might be a good thing. Because everything else, I want to get into some testing stuff. We want to look at dev tools. We want to look at releasing. We're probably going to dive into docs again. But I think all of those things are potentially topics that are involved, but also topics that I think bringing others on the stream forward too would be fun. So until then, we might start digging into SQLite and local first stuff. But maybe async next week. We'll see how we're feeling. We'll start getting some scheduled streams up. And I guess with that being said, next week, Tuesday, I'll see you. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.